Hey guys, welcome back. Learn for Two podcast. This is Brandon DeVere. Thank you as always for tuning in and sharing your time with me. I do appreciate that. And today we are headed into interview number 3 of the local business owners interviews here in Las Vegas for the podcast. And we're here with Paul .backofen from Westpac Wealth Partners. Hi, Paul. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show and bringing your knowledge to everybody here and kind of sharing with us what you do. And on that note, can you kind of share with us what your business is about?
Absolutely. So I am a financial advisor. And what does that mean exactly? Because that's a term that gets thrown around an awful lot. So as a financial advisor, I do full service financial planning. So investments, retirement planning, insurances, college planning, tax planning, business planning. There's so many avenues in the financial services industry. I work for a firm called Westpac Wealth Partners. We were founded in Hawaii, hence Westpac, Western Pacific. We're now headquartered in San Diego. We service the westernmost 12 states, spreading eastward. So we kind of started out as a very small boutique full service financial firm. And even though we're dramatically larger now, we try and keep that down home, small town feel to us, very personalized service, very full service. We don't focus on one avenue, one aspect of the financial world. We try and do it all because our view on finances is really that everything is interconnected and you need a holistic approach. So that's how we roll.
Okay, awesome. So basically kind of diversifying a little bit and getting people an opportunity to not, have all their eggs in one basket, as they always say. So kind of focusing on that. Well, that's great. And so you now obviously things have changed a little bit over the past couple months. What kind of changes are you seeing in your industry that are affecting your clients and even yourself?
Oh, dramatic changes. I think starting off, I think we all felt the slide that happened about 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was obviously an unforeseen, an unfortunate, dramatic slide, but not unusual. It's happened a couple times for those of us without short memories. Like it's happened about 6 times in the last 20 years. Obviously, some more dramatic than others, but the pandemic has really changed a lot of things, like being quarantined, being sheltered at home around the country, and just being kind of cut off from each other in an industry that really is based on interconnection and human interaction. Like I always joke that 99.9% of my job is seeing people.
Yeah.
Like I need to be seeing people. And I thrive in the social situations. Like I like to grow my business organically. Like I meet people every day. I don't target a subset really. And not being able to go out into social situations or just be around town and bumping into people and talking and meeting new people has been difficult, but
Yeah.
it's been a bit of a transition. I moved my entire business online. I always did a small portion of my business online because I have clients all over the country. So video meetings are nothing new to me.
Mm-hmm.
But having to move everything online has been a little difficult because it's not always the easiest to schedule. Because it's very easy to have a fluid, chaotic schedule when everything's done at home because the work life kind of blends together a little too much. But I think the biggest change for most of my clients is just what do we do? Like, how do we react to this environment? Like the market fell, it's coming back a little bit, but it fell. What does this mean going forward? What changes do we need to make? And I think that's been a boon to my industry, at least my business, being that resource for people and helping calm their fears and provide information. I think the biggest solution is just information. And I think for too long, my industry has been behind closed doors and the insiders and, we don't know what the market is about. And, we got to go to the advisor for him to make the decisions. Like, no, Like, let's turn this franchise around. Let's open this thing up. Like, let's get some people information so that people aren't worried about it because they don't need to be.
Yeah, and right now, like you're saying, everybody is at home and they're getting to do. There's a lot of like, I think there's a ton of like reflection and rebooting and all this stuff going on right now that people are at home and maybe now they're going, you know what, I've been this financial stuff. I just kind of like let somebody take care of it for me by themselves all the time. But now people are probably getting in. I work in the real estate industry that's been like under attack from that for a long time. The Zillows of the world. Well, now I can do everything on my own because I have this information. It's not just the information, but being able to know what to do with it and come to you with that questions, and you being available for that. I would imagine is a huge asset and a huge service that you're providing to your clients.
100%. I agree. Yeah. The availability. I mean, I've always kept pretty strange hours. I always joke that if my eyes are open, I'm working. Um, and sometimes when they're not open, because my phone's always on. And having clients in different time zones, I get calls at some strange times to the day. But I love taking calls. I love taking questions. I get questions all the time, and just being that resource. I'm never shy away from taking questions and helping explain some things. And I think it's been wildly helpful because the big run that we had from 2010 to 2017, I think set a lot of people into, kind of lulled them into a false sense of security, like, oh man, it's going up and it's never going to come down. And we were rolling strong, and it was just kind of, it was really easy to back burner all of our finances, like, oh, I don't need to worry about it, everything's going great. And always the one big gut punch that happens afterwards is like, oh, okay, now I gotta figure this out and make sure that this doesn't hurt me so bad next time. So it's been a bit of a silver lining for sure.
Yeah, and definitely, I bet people are thinking completely different right now. And I would assume you're probably getting some more calls now, and or maybe even some from new clients or existing clients. And a question I have for you is, it's kind of a two-parter. But the first part is, when people come to you, is it typically like, I love the story. To me, story is everything. It's not, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm a story guy. So I would have to believe that people are coming to you and they aren't saying, hey, I want to save, $120,000 over the next 15 years or whatever it is. How can I do it? Like, are they coming to you with numbers? Are they coming saying, you know what, this is what I envision for myself. I want kids college, or we want to retire here, or we want to buy an RV or a boat to sail around the world, or whatever it is. Are people coming to you for more just comfort that they're going to have money in the bank, or a steady source of income, or is it about like living their dreams?
That's a great question, and it's very true. It seems like it would be, at least by the way all of the commercials from my industry love to set it up. Like, what's your number? They always try and make it about the math, but it's 100% the narrative, as we describe it. Like, that's absolutely what it is. I get the narrative questions all the time. Like, I want this. I want to buy a house in the next 5 years. We're looking to have kids, or we have kids, so we need to plan for college. Like, I'd like to be able to retire. I want to play golf twice a week. Like, how do I make that happen? The narrative is, I think, the best way to think about it, because particularly with retirement, it's so hard to conceptualize something that's 30 years down the line, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, depending on your age down the line. Like, how can you possibly fathom what your life, what your desires, what any of that's going to be, and what your needs are going to be, to be able to put a number to that? Like, it's not realistic to think that way. But a narrative, we all have a pretty good idea, at least most of us have a pretty good idea of what we want to happen 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. Like, I want to get married. I want to buy a second home. I'd like to be able to do a vacation once a month, or, I want to have kids and grandkids. And I think I really enjoy that the most because it makes the process a little bit more fun. It also makes the journey more fun because then instead of a numerical goalpost, you get the wholesome goalpost. Like, my kid just paid his college off, right? We just
Yep.
bought our first house, or we just got debt free, or we just hit a financial goalpost that we're like, enough that we can take these cruises, or that we can retire, or it's more experiential, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, and I think also, in my opinion, because I battled this myself, is that for a lot of people there is kind of this negative relationship with money. And when you think of money and you think of bad, and I talked to my sister like probably 2 months ago, and I just said, Andy, I was like, Dad was never like that with us. Like for us to think money is bad. Why do we have like that, like knee jerk reaction that, oh, if it like it leads to somebody being bad, right? So when you do it in that numerical, just that number, you have that feeling. But if you're doing it with something instead of being Scrooge McDuck swimming in coins, right? You're talking about, okay, my kid wouldn't have been able to go to this school or have this experience if we didn't have that money. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but we get conditioned that way. And the other side, I'm not sure if you've read this book before, but Start with Why by Simon Sinek.
I have. I watched his. I actually watched his TED talk when he
Oh yeah.
presented
Oh yeah.
that
Yep.
concept. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible. And that book, along with a couple others, have kind of got me where I am today as far as mindset goes and things like that. And that's kind of why I asked that question, is
Absolutely.
if that's what it was, that people were it's more about the story. And so now the follow-up question to that question was, now that people are in their home, stuck or whatever, I've heard people say that they're going to be, now everyone's going to think they need a bigger house because everyone's so close together and they haven't been for a while. But do you think that some people are going to start to put their foot on the gas in a way that they're at home and they're going, you know what, this is like, we have been talking about that vacation for 7 years, and now we're sitting here not knowing if we can do it. Let's figure out how to do it. How are we going to get it done? Let's get a plan together and start doing this. Not just say that we want to do it, but let's start to really think about getting it done. Have you seen any of that recently?
Um, a little bit. I'd say it's about a 50-50. And just to follow up, because that was kind of the tail end of the last question, but I loved the Simon Sinek,
Oh yeah.
that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Was groundbreaking, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
foundation for how I like to approach things as well. But coming back to like what I've been dealing, like, I think I'd say about a 60-40 split.
Okay.
40% of the people I feel like are having that conversation, like, okay, well, this is what's going on. So what's going to be our reaction to this? What are we going to do going forward? And are kind of taking the more proactive mindset to it. Like, all right, well, we've got this time. We might as well make use of it. And let's kind of game plan, and let's get things set up. And it's been nice, that to see people so motivated. I've gotten a lot of phone calls and emails of just the go-getters, like, I want to get
Mm-hmm.
this done yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes, unfortunately, it's motivated by having just taken a shot to the cheek,
Yeah.
because of a furlough or something like that. And they're like, man, we didn't have a rainy day fund, or we didn't have money set aside for this, and we got hit. Let's not have that happen again. How do we
Yeah.
not be in that place again? And then I think the other 60%, are just hunkering down, and that's kind of the struggle. Is the vast majority of people are just hunkering down, and I think more afraid of the unknown, and not willing to even have those discussions, because they're so worried about every dollar that they've got right now, that it's like, okay, I can't worry about 20 years down the line. I'm just trying to get through day by day.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think I can obviously understand that emotion. It was definitely a little stressful when this all first started going downhill, and downhill quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's beneficial to take that stock and be as proactive as possible, and not get lulled into, not quite a false sense of security, but just the calm between the storms. It's like, okay, this is going to end eventually. And I understand the fear and the uncertainty, but life is going to go on. I mean, this is not the first time it's happened. It's going to happen again. It's just the way that the world works. There's always going to be something else down the line, and we can't afford to wait. Like,
Yeah.
the one thing they're just not making any more of is time. Like, we just don't have the time to put this stuff off.
Yeah, that's interesting. When you say that, I have a mentor of mine that tells me, he basically says there's not enough hours in the day for you to trade your time for money. And I think that a lot of us are in that. I battle with it as I talk with other business owners and agents and things like that, where there is not, especially in the real estate industry, as far as agents go, there's not very many people that are playing the long game. It's very much hustle, 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 sell a home, and then you're unemployed until you sell your next one, right? So there's a lot of that, not a lot of long game being played. And if I talk about this thing called vacation intimidation, is that it's tough to go on vacation when I was at Knott's Berry Farm with my kids and another family a couple of years ago, and we're walking around and I'm trying to save a deal while my head is down like this, walking through, going through, and they're asking me like, hey, what, I'm getting lost. They're off over here. I'm all over. And the problem was, at the time I was in a position where if that deal didn't close, then I need to get this done. I need to be working while I'm on vacation, because if I'm not, then no one's working for me. And, and I was trading my time, for money, as opposed to putting myself in a position to have my money work for me a little bit. And I think that, like, what's an example of how you could have somebody, come in, or a way that you could get them to get their money to work for them? Or like a sample plan that somebody would come in and say, hey, I want to invest, we'll say $10,000.
Mm-hmm. So that's a great point. And I definitely feel that sometimes as well, being a business owner and running my own practice, and just never, ever getting, I mean, for every day you take off, you have 2 days to recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely stressful, trying to blend yourself between business and leisure. But I think that's where systematizing everything you can is what really saves the day in that scenario. From a business standpoint, like one of the biggest transitions, at least in my industry, is, as you said, from moving away from the eat what you kill and feast or famine,
Yeah.
and really building a business, a repeatable business system that you can continually thrive and live on, and continually get business without having it be starting from scratch every single month or every single year. And really putting roots down. We call it deep markets, building a network. And I've tried to do that out here in CCSD, working with different systems, Clark County, working with CCSD and a lot of different things. But for clients, I think, for just people trying to build some normality and some systems into their life with making money work, you just have to build systems, make as many things automatic as you possibly can. I think the biggest struggle that a lot of people have with their money is they're too emotional about it. They're too attached, they're too emotional, and they either can't make the decision or they make too many decisions. There's no happy medium. It's like I'm either micromanaging it, or I'm just completely forgotten that I need to pay attention to it. And it's over there, as you said, like it's going this way and the other one's going that way.
Yeah.
It's like, if you systematize things everything starting from the ground up, systematizing your savings so that you don't have to think about it. Like, we need to be saving, like everyone, in my industry, like we tell people all the time, you have to become a world-class saver just to start. People are not saving enough, and building a system, making it automatic so that you don't have control over your savings. It just comes out automatically. And whatever you're left with is what you're left with. Takes so much of the stress out, because now it's not, I have to think about budgeting. It's already done.
Yeah.
And finding ways to be creative with your money. I think there's far more options out there than a lot of people realize. I think we've haven't really evolved as a financial industry in a while. And that's one of the things I've been crusading on for most of my career in the financial industry, about a little almost 7 years now, trying to turn this franchise around and start a winning tradition.
Yeah.
Because we've just gotten into this system where, it's 401k or bust. And that's for the longest time has been the only way to go. And that's what everyone thinks. And that's not the only way. Like, there's so much more out there. There's so much more than just investing, than just this kind of fund, than just this kind of savings account. There's so much out there. There's no golden bullet. There's no one size fits all strategy for everyone. It's about, as you said, the narrative. What's your game plan?
Hmm.
What do you want to have happen? And what might fit into that to get that system going?
Well, that's such a great point, because when you do think of investing, like when people talk about investing, they say like they're either, investing in real estate or 401k or stocks. Like that's like the three things that people talk about. And then you hear, well, you get like Bitcoin and stuff like that. I don't know much about that, so I'm not gonna get into that. I still don't understand how it works. But other than on LinkedIn, I have a lot of people that are professionals on it. And they are inviting me and give me, the one-time offer to join them. But with that being said, it's to know that there's these other different ideas out there that aren't at the forefront, that for one person, stocks might be too scary, while other person might say, well, that's how you make money, is in the stock market. So it sounds like you may have to tailor somebody's plan and approach, not only just on what their desired outcome is, but also what are they comfortable with, or what do they understand a little bit. I would assume that most people probably choose to invest in things that they understand more than not understand. I mean, I know that there's a ton of information out there. You can lead them in kind of the right direction, but I would assume they ultimately they pull the trigger on what they understand the most. Is that your experience?
100%. And that's one of the reasons why I built my practice the way that I have. Like, I have a process. As much as I try not to say that word because it just sounds so canned, but the way that I like to approach the financial process, like, there's an order of operations. Like, I focus on education. I could never do what my wife does, being a teacher full time.
Mhm.
But I do like teaching my clients, because I feel like people make pretty good decisions if you give them the information to help them make the decision.
Mhm.
The problem is that we recoil from the unknown, and the only way to combat that is to make it known. And people make pretty good decisions if they're informed. Like, the pop culture is wrong. Like, if people are informed, they make pretty good decisions. So I always try and start from a point of education and help people understand their options and understand what's out there. And oftentimes people get to where I'm going before I get there in the meeting. They're like, well, I feel like I should do that. I'm like, I'm glad you're there. I'm not quite there yet, but yes, that is going to be perfect for you. And this is why. There's so much. And if you just start from the educational standpoint, uh, it's so much more impactful for people, because then it's not, well, I have a guy, I don't know what he does for me, but he's managing my money. No, it's like, hey, yeah, I've got this dude Paul, he's awesome, we're doing this. I love it when clients just start rolling off everything that we're doing and explaining it to, like, their friends and family. I'm like, man, this is wonderful. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even have to do it because they're doing it for me.
Mhm.
And I love that they can take charge of their finances and take some responsibility and some proaction into what they're doing.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. And that goes back to knowing what your clients needs, not just forcing something on them because that's what they that's what you want to sell them, right? And get them in that spot. So that is awesome. Of the things that you talked about a little bit earlier about changing different things, moving your business to online. What are a couple things that you see that you will continue to do that you've had to kind of to change in this climate, that you'll continue to do after, or that something that you didn't do before that is kind of working out for you, and you kind of like it?
I mean, I certainly like doing a lot of meetings from home. It's been great. My office isn't super far from where we live. It's only about a 15-minute drive, which is it's really nice. It's definitely a comfort because I know there can be some gnarly commutes even in Vegas. Um, but it's been really nice being home like all the time. Like I feel like my wife and I have been getting to spend a lot more time together, bouncing back and forth between meetings, in the downtime, been getting work done in the house. So I think ratcheting back the time I spend in my office, because I'm doing the same things in my office.
Yeah.
Like everything I do from my office, I can also do from home. It's nice having the dedicated space. I obviously I feel a little bit more far luckier because I have a dedicated space in the house. Like that's one of the one of the big helps for the house that we bought was that it
Mhm.
had an office already. So that's obviously been a struggle. We also, my wife, I don't have kids yet. I don't know if I'll be able to answer that question the same way next year, depending on how things go later this year.
Yeah.
But I definitely would like to continue the work-life balance that I've found with quarantine. It's been really nice with the more 70-30 time split between personal time and business time. I think one of the nice things about doing what I do is that I'm on my own clock. I don't have anyone running my time. I don't punch in, punch out. I work as much or as little as I feel that I need to do. So I love being busy, so I work a lot, but I've always been very good with time management. So I think that's definitely going to be a change I'm going to keep is that I'm going to do far more work from home now and skip the commute.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is awesome. And that seems to be a common theme from a lot of people that I talk to is about, them, the relationships that are being, bonds and relationships that are being stronger within the house. The listeners probably get tired of me saying this, but, we went from my daughter being at soccer practice or games from 6 days a week, hardly ever having dinner together to, hey, what, like, this is what I made. Go ahead and this is what you'll eat when you get home. Or, now it's like, hey, what do you want to do for dinner? Just stuff like that has been just a really big shift and just kind of brought us back down to earth a little bit. But overall, is there anything else that you'd want to share with anyone out there right now, maybe contemplating or maybe never even thinking that they would even be in a position to start saving or need some advice for their financials?
Absolutely. I think probably one of the biggest misconceptions I hear an awful lot, which is surprising, is that they're I don't know where it came from, but a lot of people I've heard a lot of times I hear that people aren't sure if they should talk to an advisor because like I don't make tons of money or I don't have lots of money, so I don't feel like I need an advisor. That's not the case. Like I don't know about I can't speak for other advisors, but I don't have a minimum to work with me. Like I don't have an upfront fee. You don't need to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Like I work with all walks of people from all walks of life, every career out there. People making lots of money, people making little bits of money. You don't need to have millions of dollars to work with an advisor. It could be as simple as just helping you get a little bit more efficient with your savings. It could be, giving you some advice on things that you're already doing. Like, all right, well, let's fine tune that a little bit, and you'll be all set. I have some people that go through the full shebang with me, and 2 months worth of meetings, and we're back and forth, and we got to build everything from the ground up. And then I have some people that come in that have already done a bang up job getting stuff ready. It just needs a little bit of guidance, a little bit of fine tuning. It's like, all right, cool. Well, that was great. One meeting, and if you have any questions, give me a shout. But it's like that's it. So I think the biggest advice that I would have is don't wait. The best time to go see a financial advisor is yesterday.
Yeah.
You need to have already done it because I think, and you mentioned earlier about the stigma around money. I think I don't think anyone would disagree that a lot of that gets heaped on the professionals. Like I
Mhm.
think financial advisors are right there next to DMV employees, and like, oh God, you got to go to the DMV. Like, oh man, um, we don't get into this industry to 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 hurt people. Like
Mhm.
we got into this industry to help. Like
Mhm.
just like any professional. Like we go see dentists to take care of our teeth, we go see doctors to take care of our health. If my car breaks down, I'm not gonna try and fix it myself. I'm gonna probably go to a mechanic. I'm gonna go to a Midas or go to a Meineke or somebody like that and have them fix it.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Like financial advisors exist to help you with your money, like to help you transition and navigate the market and make the most out of every dollar you have and help you plan your life so that one, your family's taken care of, and two, you get to have the life that you want. So I think that would be by far just go see an advisor. Go see an advisor today.
Yeah, and I think you touched on 2 points there. One that really made me think about, when you said that the best time. Well, first was you said that it's kind of scary. Like you think you have need to have a ton of money to invest. And I'll tell you what, that was my belief as well. And be like, well, I have to have X amount before I can go bother them with this. And what's funny is that I see that and I feel that in my industry as well. I'll have somebody be like, well, this house is only worth this much. I'm not going to bother with him because I don't think that he'll want to do it. But that's what that's what you're there for. But the other thing that you mentioned is that the best time to see a financial advisor was yesterday. And I just thought, like, right now, all obviously now it may not be as big as it usually is because of the graduations, but I mean, could you imagine, when I graduated, I had people giving me cards and money to get ready to go on to life after high school. And here I had a few $1,000s, and what was I doing? Like, imagine if you got to somebody like right at that point, or like just before, like at 18. Like there's things that I'm learning now that if I, obviously for everybody, but I'm like, man, I wish I'd have known that, long time ago. And then even if you just did a little, I would be 20 years later have done a lot because I just did a little during that time. And like you said earlier, it's very hard to have that mentality to look 20 years down the road and see what it is and the impact that you're doing right now. It's so minimal, and like how it can how it can compound. I went to Tony Robbins one time and he talked about the trajectory. Have you heard him talk about that before? Hitting the golf ball 1 centimeter off, like how much higher it'll go or lower. It's the visual from that would really help me as well. But well, thank you. And what is the best way to get a hold of you, so anybody listening to this can get some advice from you?
Absolutely. Well, I mentioned before that I practically sleep with my phone because I do. But I have lots of ways. I have obviously my cell phone is probably the easiest. I'm always on it. Cell phone, email. I have a Facebook business page. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very, very visible social media wise. I try and be as open as I can. I do a lot in the district and all over. Or in the county, I keep saying district, in the county and all over the city. So I run a lot of groups. I coach golf. I work. I'm doing stuff with the Boy Scouts. Like I'm just I'm all over the place. I'm spread very thin, so it's not hard to find me.
Okay. Awesome. Did you want to share any email or phone
Absolutely,
number?
yeah. So obviously my cell phone 909-418-4716, and yes, 909 from California. Yeah. Uh, Email is my first name, Paul, dot my last name, Backofen. That's B as in boy, A-C-K-O, F as in Frank, E, N as in Nancy, at Westpac, P-A-C, westpacwealth.com. And my business page on Facebook is at P Backofen, and LinkedIn's the same thing. So find me. I'm easy.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much so much, or thank you so much, Paul. Pleasure to have you on here. Pleasure to get to know a little bit more about that, and hopefully we can get some of these listeners out here to really decide to take a look at their financials and move forward to help them prepare for something in the future. Like you said, we've had 6 of them in the last 20 years or something like that, and be prepared a little better for next time. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I will chat with you later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, too. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.